What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. It's the best one, Donnie here, back with another reaction video. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications, videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real. And normally I do reactions to, the weekly wrestling shows. I, do my live Raw reactions to, what I watch. And I don't really do reactions to other wrestling videos on the YouTube platform. And I want to start expanding my reactions because We Are Wrestling Maniacs seem to really enjoy it. So I am definitely looking for some videos to react to. So comment down below what video, you would want me to react to. Today, I am going to be reacting to this video from one of my favorite, wrestling YouTube channels out there, Wolt Culture. The top 10 worst TNA gimmick changes. And in case you guys don't know, because I normally don't talk about TNA wrestling as much on the We Are Wrestling podcast, I loved the original TNA wrestling when I was a kid. Just the nostalgia being in, Universal Studio, Orlando, Florida, with the six-sided ring and the X Division. I loved old TNA so much. I don't really get to talk about it that much because both my co-hosts for the We Are Wrestling Talk show, they never watched TNA. They always, were WWE kids. So I am going to be reacting to this video right here from Wolt Culture, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Good idea. Well, if TNA ever had one good idea, well, they certainly didn't have two, did they? In all seriousness, as easy and fun as it is to rag on TNA's creative, or lack thereof, during certain periods, they rarely messed with a wrestler's gimmick when that gimmick worked, and they even, on occasion, upgraded a naff one to a winner. But sometimes the opposite was true, and a bunch of seriously talented performers were saddled with potential career-killing guises. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10
Love
worst
these type of
TNA
videos, guys.
changes.
I binge watch them
Join us.
before I go
Number
to sleep
10,
every
the
night.
Amazing Red to Sangriento. It's no wonder
Oh
that
my
the Amazing
God!
Red has comparisons to Rey
I
Mysterio.
remember that!
Red, like Rey, was
Oh my God! I remember that. This, I believe, was around like the time when Hulk Hogan and Bischoff were running things. Because he was doing the Amazing Red thing in like 2009. He brought it back, and then he started wearing a mask and wrestling on Explosion.
diminutive by industry standards, but Red,
Wow.
like Rey, made sure that his size, or lack of it, was not an issue by
Amazing
being
Red
so
was
exciting
amazing.
and revolutionary between the ropes that punters simply didn't care.
That
Though
Code Red
was
finisher
obviously
was
inspired
amazing.
by Mysterio, he was very much his own thing and helped popularize the continued evolution of the lucha-influenced style the Masked Man had initially made mainstream. When Eric Bischoff came to power in TNA,
yes,
he,
I
like many,
remember
saw Red as
this.
the company's version of the Biggest Little Man. Only, literally. Yes, Eazy-E's grand idea was to repackage the Amazing Red with a new Mysterio-like gimmick. And that amounted to no more than let's change his name and put him in a new costume and see what happens. Sangriento, who wrestled 3 televised matches for TNA, including 2 victories over Suicide on Impact, was given no discernible backstory or any distinguishing features. It was just the Amazing Red
He was
in
just
a ropey
fine.
mask.
That's one thing that pissed me off, guys, was how when Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan came, they really took away what we loved about the X Division. Just wanted to say
It simply didn't
that.
work and was quickly dropped, with Red leaving the company
Oh,
not
that
too
ugly
long
four-sided
after.
ring!
Number 9, Sanjay Dutt to the Guru. A lot of the X
I
Division
do
wrestlers
remember
got
the Guru.
makeovers in the mid to late 2000s as TNA tried to give them a little
I hate
more
what Sanjay Dutt's doing
personality,
in
I guess you would call it, to
AEW,
go alongside their exciting in-ring performances. Sanjay Dutt's transformation was more pronounced than most, as the high-flying original player from the Himalaya became the Guru. Dressing in all white and incessantly praying and apologizing for everything, Dutt would also
This was like
dish out
2007
advice
and he started
collect
feuding
money
with Jay
from the
Lethal.
audience. This was at the time where Kevin Nash, during his paparazzi productions phase, would just wander around telling the lower card guys what to be, and it was Big Sexy who kayfabed Jay. On the positive side, the gimmick change did lead to more TV time for Dutt. On the negative side, that TV time revolved around
I liked
Guru's
original
love triangle
Sanjay
with
Dutt
SoCal
better
Val
than the
and Jay
Guru.
Lethal. After winning the Ladder of Love match and thus Val's hand in marriage, Dutt's fortunes took a turn for the worse and he became little more than a glorified jobber prior to his exit from the company just a couple of months later. Number 8.
Looking for trouble?
When Elvis opens his mouth.
Okada to Okato. As is tradition,
Oh my
New Japan
God,
sent one of their young
Okada!
lions, Kazuchika
I
Okada,
remember this.
overseas
Wasn't he a
to
part
get
of
some
World
more
Elite?
seasoning as part of his learning excursion so that he could come back and eventually become a star in his homeland.
Sheesh.
Unfortunately for Okada, he ended up in the artistic hellscape that was TNA at the time due to the working relationship between the
Bet
two
TNA
companies.
regrets it now.
Initially wrestling as simply Okada, he predominantly appeared on
Ah,
Explosion,
Rob
typically in
Terry!
losing efforts.
Oh my
Hey, at least he was
God!
getting that valuable experience and wrestling gifted folks like Generation
Damn.
Me, Stevie Richards, and Rob Terry, right? Almost a year into his TNA journey, Okada became Okato, sporting a look strikingly similar to Kato from the Green Hornet
Damn, looking like the
series.
Hamburglar.
Well, actually, it was a complete unashamed ripoff. Because why not try to piggyback off a film that was considered a major commercial and critical disappointment, eh? And while we're at it, why not have D'Angelo De Niro hold a future
Oh, the
IWGP
Pope.
heavyweight champion up at knife points? He was only
That's one thing, too, I gotta say about the Pope D'Angelo De Niro. He was doing so good in 2009, and then as soon as Bischoff and Hogan came, it's like all that momentum just like went right down the toilet drain.
only Okato for a couple of pointless months, but New Japan was so angry at how TNA had presented Okada
Don't
on
blame
TV
them.
that it was cited as one of the reasons they ended their working agreement soon after. Number 7, Jay Lethal to Black Machismo. Right,
Yes!
stick with me here
I
because
was
there
not a
were
fan of-
few
I was
great
not a
moments
fan
when
of
Jay
him
Lethal
being a
started
ripoff
mimicking
to Macho Man.
but this one
At all.
totally overstayed its welcome. So, remember when Randy Savage showed up in TNA for
I
a cup
hated
of coffee,
it
refused
so
to take his top
much.
off, almost got into a backstage fight with a visiting Hulk Hogan, won a match with a punch, and then promptly disappeared from the wrestling business forever? It was hardly vintage Macho Man, was it? Perhaps that is why TNA had Jay Lethal, who could do an uncanny Savage impression, become Black Machismo, an homage to Randy's glory days. With his ostentatious costumes
I was not
and
a fan
gravelly
at all
voice, Black
of
Machismo
this.
was essentially a cosplay of classic Savage. And it was a cute bit.
It did get him over, though.
About
I
10
do
minutes
gotta admit
anyway.
that.
Yes, it got Lethal noticed and made him stand out from the pack, but the act just went on for way too long. People dug the character and everything, but it
Got
just
that
dragged
right,
on
Adam.
and on and on with very little evolution. Once you'd seen Machismo say, "Ooh yeah," and drop a big elbow, what else was there really? A
I
cute
hope
gimmick, sure,
They-
but one with a
hold-
limited
Okay, one person I really hope that Adam covers in this is Shark Boy doing the whole Stone Cold impression. Give me a shell, yeah.
shelf life and a low ceiling as far as how high on the card it could go. I'm also guessing Jay is addicted to strepsils to this day. Number 6, Lance Hoyt and Jimmy Rave to the Rock and Rave Infection.
Oh my
The story
God,
of
Lance
Hoyt's TNA
Archer!
career was one of moving from random tag team to random tag
Wow.
team. Kid Cash, Matt Bentley, Ron Killings, all of them found themselves joining
The
forces
Rockin',
with the
I
big
remember
man, but
this.
none
This
of the
was like
teams made much of an
2006,
impact, pardon
2007.
the pun. What I reckon Hoyt really needed to do to get over was change his last name to Rock and come to the ring
The
playing
Guitar
a Guitar
Hero guitar,
controller.
no
Jimmy
way.
Rave, for his part, had wrestled a handful of matches
Jimmy
during
Rave
TNA's
was so
first
good.
few years,
Rest in
typically as
peace.
either an enhancement talent or in some multi-man X Division match, and was no doubt just happy to have a contract after toiling on the indies for an age. Flanked by Christy Hemme, the Rock and Rave Infection didn't exactly get off to a blistering
Yeah, that's like the
start,
only
and they
thing
just sort of
Christy Hemme
drifted
really did
around
besides,
aimlessly
like, ring
until Hemme
announcing.
quietly split from them. Rock and Rave were then released from the company a day apart. Sadly, nobody missed them or their faux instrument playing ways. Number 5, Daphne to the Governor. Do you know who
The
is
Governor,
very bloody good and deserved a lot
no.
better than the wrestling business gave her? Daphne, that's who.
The
An
Governor.
absolute highlight toward the
Hogan
end
and
of WCW.
Bischoff,
She
yet
made an
again.
appearance on the second ever weekly TNA pay-per-view as a contestant in the lamentable Miss TNA Lingerie Battle Royal, then worked a sole match on Explosion a year later before re-emerging in 2008 to put over Knockouts champion an awesome Kong. Later that year, Daphne got her first proper break since WCW went under.
I enjoyed
though,
Daphne so
it wasn't
much
as
in
her own
TNA.
gothy self, but as a fake version of controversial Alaskan governor and one-time vice president hopeful Sarah Palin. In a parody similar to what Tina Fey was doing much better on Saturday Night Live at the time, Daphne played the governor, with the running joke being that she had fooled the beautiful people into believing that it was the real deal. You know, to show how unbelievably stupid they all were.
Wasn't
Was
Alex
this whole
Vince Russo
storyline as
booking
mind-numbingly dumb as Sarah Palin herself? You betcha! Thankfully,
Oh, this
when
was
it was
like
all over,
2007.
Daphne reverted to
Okay.
her own persona. Number 4, Shark Boy to Stone Cold
Yes,
Shark
there we
Boy.
go. This is what I was
Remember
waiting
a few
for.
minutes ago when we looked at Jay Lethal's transformation into Randy Savage tribute act, Black
Shark
Machismo?
Boy.
Well, I hope you remember. Otherwise,
Oh
you need
my
to watch
God.
less television or take fewer chair shots to the head because your attention span is cooked, my friend. Anyway, as I was saying, Jay Lethal became Black Machismo, and it was fine for what it was, even if it did go on for way too long and the joke stopped being funny by the second time you'd heard it. Well, Black Machismo was positively Hall of Fame worthy when put up against Stone Cold Shark Boy. Look, I know wrestling is supposed to be fun, and I did giggle at the spot-on Steve Austin impersonation the first
Oh
time
my God,
heard it, and
I got
also did
so
titter at
mad
him
when
asking for people to give
he
him a
had this
shell,
gimmick.
yeah, and renaming the stunner
It was
the
funny,
chummer.
but-
And I guess who doesn't love a nice cold can of clam juice? But that is about as deep as it got, and the whole
Oh
thing
my
was
God.
noticeably low rent and made TNA come off once again as
That's the thing, though, like, that makes TNA, like, what it is. Like, you had such, like, great things in TNA that are so unique that, you know, you look back and you still talk about to this day, like, Ultimate X and the Six-Sided Ring and guys like AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, you know, Kurt Angle, Christian Cage. And then you have, like, the stupid shit like Shark Boy right here, which to me is that's what made TNA so special, though.
something a lot less
had-
than the
you had your
supposed
stupid
second
crap,
biggest
but
wrestling
it was
company
still
in the
entertaining.
United States. Number 3, the Samoan submission machine to the Nation of Violence.
I hated
Samoa
Nation
Joe
of Violence,
emerged on the
Samoa
national
Joe.
stage by doing what he did
Hated
best,
it.
aka wrecking fools with his high-intensity style, which helped him quickly climb up the card and eventually bag the TNA World Heavyweight title. The Samoan submission machine's work spoke for itself, and he got over primarily due to his consistently excellent in-ring performances and believable
Facts.
no-nonsense character. Well, if the no-nonsense approach had been working thus far, why not add some nonsense to the mix and see how
Yeah,
that
this
goes?
is where they had
A few
Taz
months after
introduce
dropping the
Nation of
title to
Violence.
Sting and then being laid out and injured by the main event Mafia, Joe came back sporting a leather vest, buzz cuts, some dodgy brown pants, and
my
a phallus
God.
tattooed on his face. Oh, and he carried around a kebab knife, which he threatened to maim people
This
with too.
was
The Nation
horrible.
of Violence version of Joe was supposed to position him as a psychotic, sadistic heel, but it was way too try-hard and
This was the bootlegged version of Umaga.
paled in comparison to what the man had been doing before getting a big old stodger
Not the arrow.
stamped on his
Come
mean
on,
mug.
don't zoom in
Plus,
on it
it
like
was all
that.
for naught because he shockingly joined the main event Mafia anyway after waging war against them for months. Number 2, the phenomenal one to the new Nature Boy.
Oh
AJ
my
Styles was one of
God.
the best things
Alright, no, this really pissed me off when AJ Styles was the phenomenal one, and then, like, they tried making him, like, Ric Flair. Friggin' Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, TNA. They tried having AJ Styles as, like, Ric Flair. Oh my God, I remember this. Like, why, like, can't we talk about the good stuff, Adam? Why?
in TNA from day one. Although I guess in this case, day one saw the phenomenal one lose to a bunch of Elvis impersonators. However, despite that inauspicious debut, Styles would over the course of the next several years establish himself as one of the best workers, not just in the Impact Zone, but the entire world. Though his reputation for in-ring greatness preceded him, TNA felt in early 2010 as though to be the man, he had to, be the man. Yes, they turned their world champion into a mini Ric Flair, because why wouldn't
Woo!
they? Styles soon began wearing sunglasses
Oh
and
my
suits and making his
God.
entrance for matches in robes, which were as ill-fitting as this
The
whole
robe,
direction change.
ah!
AJ was certainly Flair-like in respect
God.
to his talent from bell to bell, but he just wasn't the sort to put on a three-piece and brag about last night's
It
romantic
didn't work
conquests,
because it
was
wasn't
he?
AJ
According to
Styles.
reports, Styles was uncomfortable with some of what he was asked to do and flat out refused refused to bleach his hair blonde, no doubt sensing that his time as the new Nature Boy was probably going to last.
They wanted him to bleach his hair blonde? Oh my god!
Last about as long as a
I did not know
marriage.
that.
Number 1, Dustin Rhodes to Black Rain. Dustin Rhodes had a couple of TNA
Not gonna
stints in the
lie, I was a fan of
2000s,
Black
showing up
Rain,
whenever
low-key.
he was in between gigs with WWE.
Low-key, I kinda
His
liked
first
it.
TNA run was as the Lone Star Dustin Rhodes, a perfectly fine mid-card addition that
But
saw
nothing
Dusty's
will ever
son
beat
basically
Goldust.
just wrestle as
Oh,
himself, as he
that's
had
the
done
thing.
toward the end of WCW. His second TNA run, though, was something different altogether. He was still Dustin Rhodes, but he was also haunted by the split personality we came to know as Black Rain. One of the absolute dirt worst wrestling gimmicks ever. There was pretty much nothing redeemable about that wig-wearing, rat-loving freak. The segments and promos were cringe-inducing.
He
while the
was
garbage
really out of
matches he
shape
was
around this
involved in
time,
against the likes
too.
of Abyss and Relic, which is killer spelled backwards, don't you know, were positively rotten. What makes the whole thing much worse is that Rhodes was genuinely suffering from serious addiction issues at the time and clearly regrets this whole part of his career, which is of course sad.
Let me just say, like, with Black Rain, it was horrible, but the idea was pretty good. And, like, as a kid, I actually, I was creeped out by Black Rain. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, were the worst, TNA gimmick changes. Because there was a lot of them through the years. Like, you could have probably made a whole hour video on it. But I love, reacting to these type of videos, usually every night before I go to bed. I will watch wrestling videos like this, but if you guys want me to do more reactions like this, smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. Links down in the description below. And to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.